So contrary to what people are trying to say, this is actually quite easy. In order to know when you don't have criticism of Israel, go back to the placard strategy. When you hear racism, colonialism, apartheid, genocide, white supremacy, Nazism, you know that you are dealing with anti-Zionism as the respectable mask for the traditional anti-Semitism. That is really easy to see. Criticism of Israel, first of all, as an Israeli, certainly someone who was a member of parliament, we have that in Israel all the time. Somehow people behave as if there's not enough criticism of Israel. It's the one thing we have plenty of. But for criticism to be criticism, you actually have to criticize something. You have to say, this policy is wrong. There's a different way to achieve that. Given the choices, we think Israel should have done B rather than A. When you hear that, you know there's criticism. And I can assure you, no one ever says that kind of criticism is anti-Semitic. This is a completely straw man. When people say, oh, they try to silence us, or they say that criticism is anti-Semitic. No. When people call Israel by the placard strategy, when they equate Israel, Zionism, and the Star of David with evil, that is not criticism. To say that the Jewish state should not exist, or essentially rob it of any means of defense, basically say that it should somehow not defend itself, those are not criticisms. Those are all elements in the same idea of keeping the world clean. There should not be a collective Jewish state where Jews defend themselves by themselves. So you want to know when it's anti-Semitic? The use of the placard strategy, all those words that connote that Israel and Zionism is evil, anything that essentially robs Israel of the idea that it can and should defend itself, those are clearly anti-Semitic, if not in a person's intent, certainly in terms of what they do in practice. And maybe I'll add something here about intent. A lot of people say, oh, but I'm not anti-Semitic. They think of themselves as not having prejudices. But that's because they misunderstand anti-Semitism as a prejudice or a conspiracy or a hatred. Anti-Semitism is a scapegoating mechanism. It's a political mechanism by which the collective Jew, Israel, Zionism, the Star of David, bears the blame, the idea that if only they didn't exist, we would have a better world. And anti-Zionism always leads to the eradication of Jews, either by genocide or ethnic cleansing, as I said, from Nazi Germany, from the Arab world, from the Soviet Union, from Iran, from American campuses right now. It always creates a hostile environment to Jewish life, and ultimately Jews leave. So even if a person, even a Jewish person, think that they're not being anti-Semitic by equating Israel and Zionism and the Star of David with all of the world's evils, they might not be anti-Semitic in intent, but they very much are in practice and ultimately in outcome.